In the spiritual traditions, it is said that every impulse to love is the yearning to return to the self. So, what does this mean? I think here's a way to understand what the great spiritual traditions are saying. Every genuine impulse to love is the movement of consciousness toward remembering itself as the one self, briefly relaxing the illusion of separation. In Advaita Vedanta and other non-dual teachings, the self is described as awareness, whose very nature is love, not as a separate emotion that it feels like, or a personal emotion even. When this self is forgotten and narrowed into an ego love, then love seems to appear and disappear. That ego love is a personal feeling that comes and goes between me and you. Great teachers like Ramana Maharshi and Nisargadatta point out that what we call love is actually the radiance of our own being, the affection of the self for itself. Of course, this can be obscured by fear and misidentification. That is why love that recognizes the other as non-separate has a different quality from love that is bound up with what we call possession and anxiety. Yearning arises almost instantly where we feel lack, incompleteness, or distance. But these very feelings point back to a forgotten wholeness. From a non-dual view, the hunger for intimacy, belonging, or union is the self's own homecoming instinct, a movement away from fragmentation towards its prior unity. One Vedantic perspective is that in relationships, we often think we long for the other, while at depth we are actually longing for a more naked intimacy with our own inner being. The ache of separation is like a tension in the system that can only truly resolve when the sense of two collapses into the recognition of one. If there is only the self, then two people falling in love, I would say rising in love, is already the love of the self for itself, appearing as two. Even apparently egoic forms, romantic infatuation, parental love, friendship, devotion to a teacher or to a deity, are partial reflections of the same underlying pull toward undivided being. What distorts them is not the impulse itself, but the misreading of it as my need, seeking your completion, which reinscribes separation and thus suffering. Ask anyone. After a while, romantic love turns into suffering, usually. Seen clearly, every impulse to reach, care, merge, or bless is the same current, filtered through different karmic patterns and psychological tendencies. Non-dual teachers distinguish between love directed to objects and love that recognizes all as the self, the one self. Object love fluctuates because it depends on form, circumstances, and expectation. Whereas love as self is continuous, like a stream of oil, because it rests in what does not change. As self-knowledge deepens, Love of others is seen as flowing naturally from knowing oneself as the life in all, rather than as a moral effort or relational strategy. Then the impulse to love no longer seeks to fill a hole, but to express a fullness that is already complete in itself. You can experientially test this by turning any live impulse to love, such as desire, tenderness, longing, even heartbreak, back into inquiry. In the very moment of wanting, notice the subtle sense of expansion, warmth, or openness, and ask, to whom does this longing appear, and what is the open space it expands into? Rest attention not on the object of love, but on the field of awareness in which both lover and beloved arise. That's what happens in extreme love. The lover and the beloved become one, and there is transcendence to the self. Over time, the object becomes less central, and the underlying luminosity, love as your own being, stands revealed as what you are always trying to return to. So now if you relate to this, let's do a short meditation. Gently close your eyes. Let the body settle in whatever posture is most natural right now. Feel the simple fact that you're here. Notice the contact points, weight of the body on the chair or floor, the pull of gravity, the gentle movement of the breath. Allow 3 breaths, slow, unforced. Inhale, let the lungs fill. Exhale, and let the body release any obvious tension. Again, inhale, exhale, soften the jaw, the shoulders, the belly. One more time. Inhale, exhale as if the whole body is sighing in relief. Let the breath now return to its own rhythm. Now turn your attention to the simple fact of awareness. Notice sounds appear in this awareness. Body sensations appear in this awareness. Thoughts and images appear in this awareness. You do not have to change any of them. Let everything be exactly as it is. Ask silently, what knows this moment? Not as a thought answer, just a gentle pointing. Rest as the space in which everything is appearing. Now, invite to mind someone or something you genuinely care about. This could be a person you love, a pet, a place in nature, even a spiritual figure, symbol, or teacher. Let one image arise naturally. As you sense this being or place, notice what stirs in the heart area. Perhaps warmth, tenderness, ache, subtle expansion. Do not force it. Even the faintest hint of affection is enough. Place one hand lightly on your chest if that feels right. Let your attention rest in the heart center. Simply notice this is the impulse to love. Not the story about it, not the history, just this raw movement, the subtle leaning toward, the wish for well-being, the desire to connect. Now we explore. Instead of focusing on the person or object, turn attention to the one who loves. Sense, I love this being. Feel that I as a subtle center. Then gently inquire, without looking for words, this warmth, where does it arise from? From what depth is this tenderness emerging? What is the space in which both I and the beloved appear? Let the mind relax out of trying to answer this. let the question open a doorway. Feel the impulse to love as a current moving outward, and then trace it back, like following a river back to its source. Instead of letting the current rush out to the other, let it turn around and flow back into the heart, back to its origin. Rest in the sense that every impulse to love is the yearning to return to self. Let these words sink beneath thought level, as if the body is listening and the heart is listening. Gently notice the image of the beloved again. Notice how it appears inside awareness as a picture of felt sense. See if you can feel. The beloved appears in the same awareness as this body. The feeling of me and the feeling of you arise in one field. Ask softly, is this love traveling between two separate beings? Or is it shining? Or is it the shining of one field appearing as two? Do not struggle to find an answer. Let the question dissolve into silence. Allow the edges between me and beloved to soften, not forced, not imagined, just a softening of insistence on two-ness. If it helps, feel. This love is not mine or theirs. It is simply love appearing here. Now for a few moments, let go even of the image of the beloved. Let go of the story of who you are. Let go of the story of who they are. Remain only with this, a quiet awareness, a gentle, open warmth in the chest or in the space of being. Sense that this warmth, this openness does not actually belong to anyone. It is the natural fragrance of what you are. Rest as this. If thoughts arise about the person, about yourself, about life, see if you can feel that they too are bathed in the same warmth. Every thought, every sensation, every memory appearing in the same loving field. Let the mantra or phrase form gently inside. And what is that? Love is the self, recognizing itself. Or every impulse to love is the self calling itself home. Let it repeat slowly in rhythm with the breath if you like. Inhale, every impulse to love. Exhale is the yearning to return to self. Allow the phrase to eventually fade, leaving only the silence it points to. Now widen the field. Recall different forms of loving impulse, desire for a partner or a deeper connection, tenderness for a child, a friend, a parent, devotion to a path, a teacher, or the divine, even the ache of loneliness, heartbreak, or missing someone. Let one or two of these ideas arise, recollections. As each appears, instead of following the story, feel the raw energy of it in the body, the ache, the pull, the yearning. Gently recognize this too is the self longing to remember itself. Even the discomfort, the sense of lack, is like a wave in the ocean of being, trying to resolve back into wholeness. Let the body soften around these feelings. No resistance, no fixing, just this understanding. The impulse is innocent. It is trying, in the only way it knows, to find its source. Hold each feeling in the same vast, kind awareness. And now ask softly, what is it that all of these longings are ultimately seeking? Not intellectually, feel it. Are they not all seeking peace, completeness, rest, a sense of being fully at home? Notice that right now the awareness that knows this longing is already whole, already at rest, already here. The yearning appears and disappears in something that does not yearn. The movement arises in something unmoving. Sense that as your deeper identity. Let the recognition form. The self I am is already what every impulse to love is seeking. The home I long to return to is the awareness that is aware right now. Now begin to sense the physical body more clearly again. Feel the weight of the body, the contact with the seat or floor. And now gently return to the rhythm of the breath. Recognize this same awareness, this same quiet love can infuse ordinary interactions and relationships. When you feel love, longing, or desire during the day, you can silently remember the impulse is the self yearning to return to itself. What I seek in you is actually my own being. Let that remembrance soften grasping and deepen presence. Take a few slightly deeper breaths. When you're ready, slowly open your eyes, letting the visual world appear inside the same field of awareness you've been resting in. Carry this simple intuition with you. Every movement of love, no matter how human, messy, or incomplete, is a doorway back to what you truly are. This is Returning Home, a meditation on love as the way back to the self.